he said, we'd like to go inside. I said, Mr. Snooey, we can't go in. I said, you can't climb up the old metal steps there. He said, we must go in. We've come a long way. I was afraid of rats or whatever inside. I said, all right, we'll attempt it then. So we took a while. We got upstairs, and I was about to continue with our plans and what we hoped we could do. And he said, I'd like to say a few words. I said, of course. And with that, he took a piece of paper out of his pocket and said, my name is Bill Snooey, and I arrived here 50 years ago today. And he burst into tears. And I went over and I said, may I help you? He said, no. I had no idea I would be so affected. I must tell the story. And he told of what Holland was like in the Second World War and until it was freed. And he went on and on. And I looked around, and his fellow congregants were in a semicircle. Everybody was crying. And you know, when you see somebody cry, you cry too. So we were all crying at that time. When he finished, his woman guitarist picked up her guitar and said, we will now sing an ecumenical hymn in Dutch, followed by a rendition of O Canada that had more power, more depth, more emotion than I had ever heard O Canada sung before. That was my inspiration. I went back to our team of 8 volunteers and said, we can do it. It's $9 million to open. We'll do it. And we did it, I'm pleased to say. And then the last time it was big money was for the endowment fund. Just as Chester Playhouse is going to need an endowment fund, every organization is going to need it, because you can't have the hand that never refuses going all the time. And the endowment, we had no money, we had no help from government, we had lots of income coming in only through the gift shop that we had, through other methods of the walls and a wonderful room for entertainment, which we were able to rent out. But we were always short a little bit of money, and we said we needed an endowment fund. And I said, well, how much would we need so we wouldn't have to worry at the end of every month? And they said $7 million. And $7 million, how will you do that? Well, Ruth, this was your idea, so. Anyway, that was really amazing, because I said we were very lucky. We had a good reputation across Canada. We had an active staff. We were only 2 employees when we opened on July 1st, 1999. And we still had mostly volunteers running Pier 21. It was amazing. At any rate, I felt that we could find 7 people in Canada, across Canada, who would each give us $1 million over 5 years. It worked, and we have an endowment fund, which we'll have to keep adding. But I'm pleased to tell this audience, I'm pleased to tell anybody who'll listen, that we are now the only museum in Canada that is a national museum outside of Ottawa. So we're very proud of that. And and that means that we can now go back not just to the beginning of Pier 21, but to take immigration back right from the very beginning. You know, we are a country of immigrants. And whether you came in 1700, 1600, crossed on the Mayflower, or in 2012, you came and you come for exactly the same reasons. You come because of poverty, religious wars, persecution, or just wanting to make a better home life for your family. Nothing has changed. But we have never paid tribute to the immigrant population, and that is the ambition that we have of Pier 21.
I was,
So keep your time now, right?
yeah, right. I was looking at my watch to see how long Ruth was going to talk, and then I started looking at the calendar. Did I? All right. The question was,
The question was if you have any advice for people who feel intimidated
absolutely.
about trying something new, and clearly listening to
I'm very
Ruth
generous
is
with
like,
advice.
just forget it, really go.
My advice is very simple, and that is surround yourself with people who are much smarter than you are. That's the secret to success, because you live in reflected glory, and certainly I don't know whether I learned it consciously or subconsciously, but that's the way it worked out during my time at the Children's Hospital. And these people, if they are smarter than you are, they make you look like a genius. And there's an old saying, and I don't sort of include myself in this, but that first-class people appoint first-class people, and second-class people appoint third-class people. And I think it's very true. Yeah, I've seen this in university departments, and that is really the secret of success, is if you're in a leadership position, to surround yourself with people who are not just a little, but a great deal smarter than you are, and they make you look like a genius.
That's why I married you, Richard.
Dream on.
So the theme of tonight is pushing boundaries, and I'm just going to give you a sort of warning, or encouragement, I guess, not so much warning, that I'm now going to ignore the 87 other questions that I have, because it is now 8 o'clock, and I want to throw the questions to the audience shortly. So I have just a couple more questions for Ruth and Dick of my own. So yes, the theme is pushing boundaries, and I suspect that the two of you aren't done with ideas or passions or whatever. So again, you know, if anybody is sitting in the audience and feeling intimidated, I want you to inspire them and suggest what you haven't done yet that you'd like to do, or what problem you see in the world that you want to fix. I know Ruth has something.
Well, I do have, it's gnawing away at me. I don't think I'll ever do anything about it actively, but I'm going to see if I can find a group of young mothers who would become active in that. When I read about bullying in school, I think it was because we were lucky enough to Dick had a 6-month sabbatical. We really traveled all around the world almost, and it was an eye-opener for me, and especially in India, where in the interior, in a very poor part of India, not the main big cities, but to see the children walking to school in uniforms, probably one skirt, one blouse, one blazer, one pair of knee socks, and our kids were lucky in Montreal. They went to private schools, but we paid less for our clothing budget for our 3 children than people going to public school. And I see that in Halifax today. And I look at Sacred Heart and the uniforms the kids wear and think that their parents are so lucky. There's no discussion at breakfast. There's no nasty negative going on, go upstairs and change, you can't wear that to school. I think it would have a huge impact on the bullying, the stealing, the jealousy, all the things that take place in school. And it would be a huge saving for families. If you buy 2 pairs of gray trousers at the beginning of the season, 1 blazer or 2 blazers, a couple of shirts, any colored shirt that they want, and a pair of black shoes, you've got your clothing. So that's still a dream somewhere inside, that we could get parents to get up there and say, this is what we're going to do. Certainly through to high school and on.
And you'll be ready to start the committee here tonight if there are people who want to sign up?
If there's any young mothers, I can't see out. You can't see anything here.